seeking adventure, some bound in chains, through battles waged and fought, through victory and pain, by test of their courage, our freedom was gained. In homage to those gone before us, the heroes of lands in the sun, we vow to join hands and to focus on building one Caribbean. Raise your voices high, sing of your Caribbean pride. Sing it loud and strong, feel our hearts beat as one. Celebrate in song as we rise to heights where we belong.
Welcome, brothers. Welcome to our program On Target. And as usual, as soon as we start this program, you can pick up a telephone and give us a call. We never have a subject matter. We speak about anything: politics, religion, socio-economic issues trending, or you can trend your own issue. You can pick up the telephone and give us a call, totally independent from what we speaking about. Yeah, the number to call is 442-0175. You know, we express our opinion perhaps on almost any subject matter once we're comfortable with this topic. And remember, opinions are not facts. They are people's opinion. My opinion is, in particular, is pregnant with prejudice. So if I have new information or different information, then I may as well change my opinion. And this is a period when we practically in the middle of the Lenten season. And we have a caller on the line, caller Punch.
Good day, sir.
Yes, my brother.
I want along the matter open back.
And that's an important thing to do, you know. Open bat and open bowl.
I want to say congratulations to the West Indies, man. I believe Grenada bring good luck to the West Indies for doing so fine in this last match. I want to congratulate. I also want to say that Grenada, I heard, I guess it was the foreigners speak.
Is your radio that making this noise in the background or something?
Oh.
You always have to stay a little away from it because you ring in here, you know.
Grenadians speak very nicely. The foreigners speak very nicely about Grenadian hospitality. And that gives us a clear indication that we will be bouncing back in the tourist industry. Because I heard the foreigners said, the country is beautiful and the people are very kind, very, very friendly. So that's a plus. I believe the Minister of Tourism should take note. We will be doing well in tourism from now on. I don't know if you agree with me, because the foreigners say they're very, very happy with Grenadians, the way they express their welcome to them. So in spite of we had a downturn in the covert in the tourist industry, I believe we will be bouncing back. So hats off to the Prime Minister, who is a lover of cricket. Hats off to Grenadians for welcoming visitors. Hats off. All that is a plus. All that is a plus of the leadership of this country, because he is a cricket fan. And I know that's just the beginning. We go see plenty more of this to come. I don't know if you agree with me. Yes, sir.
Well, yes, my brother. Definitely, it's a good thing for cricket. It's a good thing for Grenada. The West Indies cricket has been on a low for a very long while. I'm not very optimistic that they come out from the woods, but it's a good thing. And it could raise the confidence of the individuals. They need a win, and it gives the selectors and the managers and the psychologists an opportunity to really groom this team, because I believe over the years one of the biggest challenge West Indies have was discipline. They became a very ill-disciplined, arrogant group of cricketers who perhaps ignore the patriotism and the loyalty and the dedication of the community with impunity. In Grenada, we always seem to get it right in Grenada in the eyes of foreigners. Our biggest challenge in Grenada is Grenadians. We're extremely negative about our country. And as a result of that, we have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Hey, good afternoon.
Yes, my brother. Welcome.
Mr. Pierre. You see, thank God, thanks for the government. We got with a vision to construct the cricket stadium and the athletic stadium. And where with the athletic stadium and cricket stadium, Grenada is showcased to the wall. It's showcased to the wall. I want to say congrats also to the West Indies cricket team for being successful. We win that third Test match and the series. Yes, they win, but there is still a long way to go. So I want to say congratulations to the West Indies team and all the Grenadian people who turn out to support the West Indies. It was a wonderful. I didn't win, but I watched it on television. It was wonderful. I always say they say where they have vision, the people will always shine. Well, a leader with a vision, the people perish. And have a leader with a vision who see that the Grenadian people need to be showcased to the world. And one of the things that he did in constructing the athletic stadium and the cricket stadium. Congrats to the government and congrats also to the West Indies cricket team for being successful in winning the match. Thank you.
Yes, my brother. I think one of the challenges we have here, and we seriously have to address them, is lack of confidence in ourselves. Grenadians are running down and criticizing Grenada too much, and sometimes unjustifiably so. It is quite true that politically we have had a checkered past, but Grenada have done so much for Grenada, and in the eyes of some Grenadians, you would hear they say that nothing has not been done. Sometimes when you hear that, you wonder if these individuals from Mars, or if they don't have an idea where we were. And I always allude to what Eric Williams said. Eric Williams said after we got independence, the British suck us dry like orange, but they promised not to match the skin. You know, during the sojourn from independence and now, our education system, the British left us with our education system in tatters. And the government then built 28 schools in 13 and a half years. Fought for independence because some Grenadians was fighting it. That we cannot afford, we're not able to manage ourselves. And Eric Gary encouraged Little 8, that the 8 countries in the Caribbean must go for independence for themselves when Federation collapsed, because Jamaica felt that we might have been a burden. The islands begged Eric Williams, let us go together. Eric Williams said 1 from 10 is not. Eric Gary asked, let the Little 8 countries go together. John Compton in St. Lucia and the others were not, they didn't agree with it. Bonham begged them, yes, it's a good idea. Eric Gary went and decided to challenge it and go for independence. And Grenadians fought Eric Gary tooth and nail because they believed then we were not mature enough. We don't have confidence in ourselves. We're not able to. This is the biggest challenge faced in Grenada. And immediately after independence in 1974, Another battle started in Grenada to start the St. George's University. And they say, imagine Uncle Gary get crazy. He wants to bring a university in Grenada. That is the very university today that producing perhaps the most doctors to the United States of America. The same university that contributes over 20% of the GDP. Too many Grenadians did not have confidence in themselves. And you know what is sad? The majority of opposition come from the media and the intelligentsia. And that has to change. For us to move, it has to change. Size is not the issue. Guyana is about almost twice the size of England. But England control countries 10 times bigger than us. Rome once dominated England. It was said once that the Africans control Spain. It's confidence we have to have. When we decide to build a stadium, people say too big. Remember, Paradise Bridge was not built for this type of vehicle that we have now. It was built more for donkey cart and horse. But the architects and the builders at that time built it strong enough to accommodate vehicles they never imagined. You have a population in Grenada of 100,000 people. When you're building a structure, you want it to last for 100 years, and you want it able to suit 10 times that population. I believe that Grenada is one of the gems in the Caribbean. And once our people, and I think we need to challenge them. When people say, I have not seen anything done, say to them, what would you like to see done? That's my strategy. I always ask them what you would like to see done. Some of the people who criticize the most in our country is the most unproductive people in the country. You don't have to believe me when I say that, Just start to observe what goes on in your community. You might have 10, 20 people functioning in a club. They're struggling for everything. For funds, for manpower. Sometimes they're even struggling to get a good person that could write good to do the secretarial work. Because the teachers don't want to join them. The bank clerks don't want to join them. The intelligentsia don't want to join them. And sometimes when they write a letter, people rebuke them. The letter have plenty of mistakes. Sometimes they take weeks to write a letter because they say you don't write no more. We can get a computer. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
So good morning. And
yes, my brother.
I'll be listening to your program, but I thought about putting my 2 pence.
I would love that.
I want to congratulate the government and people of our dear country, Grenada. I went to Queen's Park and I've never seen cricket so in my life. England displayed a magnificent performance, and the English commentators make some biased comments, especially when England batted the first day. And they say West Indies let England get away by the hook. But they didn't know we had something in place for them. I feel happy, like all my other brothers and sisters in Grenada. And I feel well to the government and people of our dear country. Hats off to dear people, sir. Thank you very much for your privilege of speaking on the radio, sir.
Yes, my brother, you're welcome. And I think we need more of that. We need the voices that recognize that we are doing something good. I'm not saying that we don't have our faults, but we don't have to multiply the faults by 100-fold. Every nation has faults. And this is why I constantly try to remind Grenadians about the advantages, the benefits, the pluses that we have. Many a time people say agriculture is the backbone of Grenada. Yes, it's the backbone, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it have to be the biggest income generating entity. And we have to understand that tourism in Grenada is significant and is one of the most important factors in our economy. And yet, the tourist industry is very fragile. We have climatic conditions, we have war, we have disaster. All of a sudden, when everything looking good and we seems to push our head above the doldrums of the economic situation, we strike with a pandemic. A pandemic that threatened to devastate poor countries, and Grenada rise above it. And now we have a war going on in Ukraine and Russia. A war that seems to have no end. You know, sometimes when you go in the village and you see dogs fighting, two dogs start a fight, you don't know where all these other dogs come in and join the fight. No one to put peace. I thought perhaps this was a good day for Africa to end up as a broker to negotiate peace, because every country in the world wants Africa. Russia, China, India, Israel, Europe, United States, every one of them want Africa. Africa don't have the military, they don't have the might to take on the world. But the world recognizes the economic value of the African continent. Today was a good day. This period was a good time for Africa to show leadership in this war. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Hey, what happening, brother?
Yes, my brother. Good, man.
Yes, I was trying to get you yesterday, you know, because I wanted some information from you yesterday. What happened at school? A school child wanted to know, apparently she must have some project doing. She wanted to know what was the GNP symbol back in the day. I don't know if you can help the GNP symbol. I know at one time it was supposed to be the broom. I don't know.
I think one time it was in the broom. That is when GNP wanted unitary state. And Grenada wanted to go for independence. That might have been 72. They had the broom. And I can't remember what was the symbol in 76. But it wasn't GNP then. It would have been the Alliance.
Okay.
In 76. So after 1972 election, that might have been the last time we had GNP per se.
But at one time they didn't have the shoe?
It could have been before 72. But I think the broom was 72.
Okay.
Because, that's when we won, when Gulp won 13 seats. It would have been the broom, you know, and then Gary had the star.
Yeah, I know Gary symbol never changed.
Yeah, the star. But after 72, then remember we come to the Alliance.
Yes.
I can't remember what the Alliance symbol was. I can't remember the Alliance symbol. But in 76 would have been, but that's easy to verify. Yes. You know, we could always check back that easy. I can't do it now. Yeah.
About 5 years ago, my brother, I was sitting in Sharp Park there, in a political meeting there. The area was pretty dark. And I remember the candidate for that time, the Honorable Delma Thomas now, told the people of Sharp that, look, I'm going to light that pasture for you all. I'm going to put a light in that pasture, so next time we come back here, we will have light. Yesterday, that light was commissioned. Yesterday, that light was turned on officially in Sab, you know. And I feel good about it because she had kept her promise. And that lady, about more than 80-85% of the things that she promised before the last election was delivered. There is an area you may know that you call from Dunfermline.
Santopi Street.
Santopi Street, to bus out to Santopi Street.
Yeah.
That bridge, since I born and know that little track going through there. You understand? Today, before the last election, she had promised that she's going to build a bridge there. And today,
that bridge has been realized. You understand? So I want to let the people of the Northwest constituency know, you understand, that we have a representative who is a model politician and one of the most genuine persons and authentic persons I've ever met politically in a long time. Have a good day, brother.
Yes, my brother. Thank you. One of the expressions, a phraseology, a terminology, a mantra that always circulate around strong gay rights is the difficult things we do now, the impossible things we do tomorrow. You see, during the gay era, you always had people doubting. And remember, his majority of supporters came from the estate people, and they were more illiterate. And people always used to chastise them for being illiterate, stupid, stinking gay right. The worst aspersion was cast from them. But these were the people with the biggest dream. Because one of the things that Gary constantly did and his executive is to pump these people as big dreamers with wild ideas. The difficult things we do now, the impossible we do tomorrow. When they tell Eric Gary we can't get independence, his people were saying, well, if you accept engagement for your daughter, what you expect next? Marriage. Because in 1967, Mr. Blaze accepts statehood. So they coined it as that was an engagement. And parents would tell children, walk with your head up. Anybody in front you, bounce them down. Some parents, they really pump up quite a lot of things in the children's head. And I think Delma was one of them. Her father was one of the most outstanding individuals in the community as a model. And he did not go to secondary school. When people was begging him to go to secondary school, he went and do exam, got 5 subjects with, I can't remember the grades, but excellent grades, and brought it to somebody, people that was begging him to go to secondary schools and say, I got my subject. And he used to be encouraging the young boys. He had another one who is almost a politician now, the Speaker of the House, and Alan Walker. 3 of these young people then was 3 of the dynamic people in the community and some of the biggest dreamers. So Delma come from that stock. So you're going to see the kind of assertiveness in her. Individual lost election, when she lost election, it seems the best thing for us to go and study. This kind of attitude. There's, you know, and you can look at the track record from the time they were small. Determined, assertive individuals, yet very humble. Married, children, shown the sexuality, no doubt about the faith and the religion. And because we come from an environment where our politics in Grenada, the George Brizon called it the island of conflict, we need individuals that certain about the philosophy. One of the worst things you could find is politicians, you're not certain what end they like. Like any end. They're afraid to get married. They're afraid to settle down. They're afraid to get involved in the community. They're afraid to work. And they don't like to improve themselves. When you find people like that in politics, you need to stay away from them. You know? So I'm not surprised at the attitude of Delma. And in fact, all the women in St. Andrews, in the government now, all the women are very, individuals that are in total, very holistic in approach, and very humble, hardworking and dedicated people. I think both sides of the pendulum, whether NDC or NNP, they would admire these individuals. And you could notice, if you notice, none of the political parties have been, not none of the political parties, the opposition members have not been taking them on too much. You would not have heard any criticism much at them. In almost every respect, some of them have the view, particularly Delma Shido, watching colors. And they're pretty genuine. And we need this type of individuals in politics. You know, we need also it's the politician alone cannot do it. I've said on many occasions that we have some of the most dedicated, committed, conscientious people involved in the politics in Grenada. And I put them in front of any other profession. Because if you go to a doctor, the doctor works within his forte and within his time limit. The lawyer, the same thing, or the public officer, the professional. The politicians is exposed to the public 24 hours, 24/7. In addition to that, we have some of the most negative and hostile comments against politicians. And the politicians seem to be extremely tolerant. A lot of politicians cannot survive the harsh criticism that I see some of the politicians today are getting. One politician in the Caribbean, he break down a whole piece of wall. They used to call him Brian Nancy. So he sent a tractor and mash up a wall over 100 years old. Because the guys on the block calling him Brian Nancy every time he pass. You know, in Grenada, we have extremely tolerant politicians. And our media system in Grenada is perhaps more hostile to our politician than any media system in the Caribbean. I have listened for perhaps a couple of years individuals on the radio practically propagating hate against politicians. And the politicians have taken it and perhaps with a smile. Very tolerant. And this is good. I believe that all politicians now have set a very high standard and a high template for politicians in the future in terms of accepting criticism. Our public don't even want to pay them. Some people would prefer they don't get paid. You know? But yet you see the genuineness. And we have to, and these things is good. These are not things to hide. These things is good. You know, it makes no sense you trying to avoid recognizing these traits because they are good traits for politicians. When a young person tell me they want to go in politics, if the 18, 19, 20, 22 just come from university, it's all right. Otherwise, if they're in the country and they're not working, I say stay away from politics. It's like if you have your home and you have children over 18 years not working in your home, I encourage people stop paying the internet and television bill. Because you have these people in your home not working. They stay in your home, they're unproductive, and they're not working. Even if you have big inheritance and you don't need money, you must go and do charitable work. We do not encourage our young men and young women to be unproductive. It is not good for us. We have a small population. We have a small workforce. We cannot tolerate laziness. And some of the most lazy people in our country are the best talkers. They could sit down and talk all day. And they could criticize everyone. But ask them, what work are you doing? What's your job? What's your occupation? Yes, caller, punch. Welcome, caller, punch. It seems like we lost the caller. All right. You just call back. You know, we miss you. So just call back on the phone. So it's an important factor. And I say that when you enter politics in Grenada today, believe it or not, you open your closet door. Because of the high standard set for criticism, accepting criticism in Grenada by Dr. Kit Mitchell, Gregory Bowen, and Nazim Buck. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Afternoon, Mr.
Yes,
Pierre.
my sister.
I trust you have had a blessed weekend
Great one.
and enough time to reflect.
Yeah.
I just want to say a heartfelt thank you to those in authority and the West Indies Board for bringing first-class cricket to Grenada. It was really a stress reliever and one that is welcomed by the Grenadian people. I believe that those who would have gone to the game would have enjoyed a lovely weekend of cricket, and congratulations to West Indies on winning the series and the match in Grenada by 10 wickets and, making the 28 run. I know it would have been a long day for those who would have prepared to go to the cricket, but you had enough time or more time to go to the beaches, spend quality time with friends, and this would have added a little cash injection to some business that would have, enjoyed what was at the park and around the park. It's meant good for Grenada too in the tourism industry, more flights coming in, and a boost to your economy. Thank you and have a great day, Mr. Pierre. Thank you for affording us the time.
Yes, my sister. Yes, the sports is I think the majority of Grenadians is happy about it. I do hope that the Ministry of Sports build on this momentum. The Ministry of Sports have to build on this momentum. I don't believe there is enough passion for the game in the Caribbean, but I believe that must change in Grenada. We could change that in Grenada. The Ministry of Sports must build on that momentum. Sometimes you have to help organizations. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Yes, sir.
Yes, my brother.
I agree with you a while ago. If you don't love people, and even the present leader, and I remember the late Sir Eric used to say that because there are some people who take a ride on popular party to be into politics, and they have no love in their heart. But I believe if you don't have love for people, you have no right in politics. Delmaro surprised me because I remember Fitzroy Charles. This gentleman had love. You know him personally. This gentleman had a lot of love. And I believe that daughter of his take his footsteps. Fitzroy Charles was going the extra mile to help people. I remember the gentleman. That's Delma Farah. So today when I hear good things about her, I feel good because I know she has the blood in her. But you must have love for people to be in politics. Nobody pretending they love people and want to be in politics. Politics have its people. I heard you all speak about symbols. I remember the GMP had something they called it Touch in 1967. That way they get some blows from Cyrus because the late Cyrus, because the people were saying, GMP want to bring back Masanto again, boss. We have to come out to walk in under Coco. I don't even remember those days. Remember? Oh, the GMP want to bring back us Touch, Masanto was something you put a little kerosene and all. So they say, no, we can't vote. This is why Sir Eric beat them bad in 1967. I was a little boy, I could remember that. And on the 24th of February 1967, I made my first political speech in Grenada as the youngest. Sir Eric was calling me his political child. He raised me on his shoulder. I couldn't say much, the loudspeaker. All night they tried to put in my mouth. I was so shocked the meeting, they had us to screw down. And when I done speak, my monkey's pipe on the 24th of February 1967, asking the people to vote for Mr. Prosper, vote for Mr. Prosper, vote for the star. On election day, I vote for the star, I vote for Mr. So I would say, see that little boy, I'm going to move him. And he raised me on his shoulder. He checked me from my mother. He said, that will be my political child. So I remember those days. Also in 1971, I heard you spoke about schools. The Eric introduced preschool. He said children could cross water. They could go and learn. They could learn to read and write. And that's why he introduced preschool. And this government today follow the mantle by continue seriousness in education. That's one good era. That's one good step of the New United Labour Party they continue the trend. This party continue the trend. We also used to have what you call many people talk. Going around and asking villages what they want. We went to Hermitage. Hermitage, what you want? They say they want a school. Mount Jones, what you want? And those kind of things. I don't even remember this. I thank you.
Yes, my brother, meet the people too, man. And boot string. And I remember now the activities at the torch. The people say, Lord have mercy. They want to bring back the Macento. This was not a very challenging. You see, you had to dream. The people were, a number of people were illiterates. They were poor people. You had to dream. You couldn't offer them torch. The people said, torch. They want us to bring back Macento. While Eric Gary was offering them this star. Say, dream big. And a number of the people from the Gulf, they was encouraging the children, stay in Grenada, not to go away. You could make it here. Whereas some people who were in a better position, they were saying to their children, you cannot make it in Grenada, not under Gary. And they used to say they're going to post the children away. While the Garyites was begging some of the children, stay here. You could make it in here. You could make it in Grenada. And this is important. It's always very invaluable to make certain your children dream big. Your children must dream big, you know. And then it cannot happen if you're always running down your country. I think this is one of the challenges a lot of political parties have. To make political points, they want to give the impression that the country has not moved anyway. That doesn't help you. Because your political party was also part of the process. So if the country didn't move, it meant that your political party did not do anything. But all the political parties and politicians in Grenada, they tried. I believe that they tried their best. It's quite true that some could run faster than the other. Some of them, the battle followed to their hand. Although the intention was good, but the battle followed their hand. And some were sprinters. For instance, Eric Gary was a sprinter. And Kit Mitchell definitely is a sprinter. That's the only two leaders that in Grenada history, in the last 100 years, was able to win election on more than one occasion. And three leaders in Grenada that had big dreams. Eric Gary, Maurice Bishop, and Kit Mitchell. The challenge with Bishop is Bishop decided that he was so intelligent and bright that he didn't care what the people believe. The revolutionaries believe, and they said it, that if you have 15% of the population, you could control the people. Only 15% that they want. And they jailed 3,000 people were placed in prison. People from the intelligentsia, people from the privilegencia, and the ordinary proletariats, including the Rastafarians. 3,000 people were placed in prison. A similar number left the country, and Maurice Bishop practically supervised over the worst crimes in Grenada after slavery and colonialism. So although he had a lot of ideas, we have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
So good morning, sir.
Yes, my brother.
You're speaking on a topic which I just want to express my greetings to one of my dear brother of the village of Monktrich in St. Patrick, who had suffered very much under the revolution. It was a very good friend of mine who had saved him when he was going to Trinidad and Tobago on that particular day when they come to kill him. The aircraft came in from St. Vincent. He didn't get a chance to speak on the March 13 because they were celebrating the NNP victory, but I know he speaks on it almost every year. But I want to tell him that day he met a good friend. He met a friend from Monktrich who was an immigration officer at the airport. And that friend saved him. He went to Trinidad and Tobago. He spent 4 years. And after this, he came back to Grenada. But that friend saved that gentleman from Monktrich on that fateful day. I just want to express, as you're speaking on the revolution, I just want to express. I'm from the village of Montreach, and my brothers, my two brothers suffered with. Oh, I couldn't express it, but I know how we suffered very much. So that's the reason why I asked you to permit me to make this little comment on your radio station today. Thanks very much.
You're welcome, my brother. Were you around when the day that people said Montreach turn a graveyard?
So I had also hide my identity.
All right, okay, welcome.
Up to this present day, they never know where I'm from.
Yeah.
But I from the village of Montreach, but up to this present day, well, people know now I'm from the village of Montreach. But
They thought you was a tongue man.
They thought I was a tongue man. So they never because I know they know we are Gariites in Montreach.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
young Gary people.
Yeah.
So that morning, that fateful morning when they come to collect the airport keys, I was living in the village of Chantemelle. I've just married. And I had the immigration money and my bag in the bottom of my bag, and my wife gave me my lunch to reach at the airport. At 5 o'clock, I reached at the airport, and at 5:30 they came to. But my father-in-law from Montrose, this is shop, he saved me. See, you see this boy there? He called me my name. I don't want to call my name on you.
No.
Give him the keys. I give him the keys, and I said, well, look, the airport money is there, but I had it in my bag. And they put a red flag and say, drop this boy up in Chantemelle. And they dropped me in Chantemelle, and nobody interfered with me. And I kept the government money for 3 months. And when the police force reopened, they called me back, and I brought it to the commissioner. He was so amazed to see these dollars and cents full up in bags. He asked me if I was mad. I said, no, I wasn't mad. I was a trained man to protect the country asset. You know what I mean? Sorry to keep you talking as this. But I know my good friend of Montreach, he was supposed to speak on that on the 13th of March. But the new National Party administration had the celebration, so the radio station didn't give him that privilege to speak. I just want to express that. The people of Montreach are my people. There I grew up and born, and they always know George is around. So thank you for speaking in radio station today, sir.
Yes, my brother. Yes, my brother. And you see, it's sometimes people talk about teach the history in the schools. And I ask, what history? Because the history is so, there are so much issues in the history. Ask which history? Somebody have to write an article and write a paper, and then it must be generally acceptable to everyone. Maurice Bishop was an orator. People like him. And we have a call on the line. Caller, welcome.
Hi, good afternoon.
Yes, my brother.
Yeah, two things. I agree with you, and I keep saying that we need to document the history of Grenada, and it should be taught to children. But nobody in the authority is doing it. So at some point in time, all of these important events will fade away. They will not know the people who were here. And I'm really calling on the authorities, or whoever, we need to document the history. Because while I never support the revolution, 1979 to 1983 is a very important era. And we should know all about it. The future generation should know about it. There's one other thing that I observed. When Eric Gary started losing seats in the 1976 election, when it was a 9-6, it means that his support was deteriorating. When he looked at the supporters of the people who were mainly supporting the bishop side, he found out that there was a lot of children of the Gariites who were the ones who was opposed to him. And he said, oh my God, the children of labor are doing this to me. You know, he did his best. He worked, he improved the country, he brought benefits, but he expected the people to go along with everything that he wanted to do. But all of these young people saw differences, they saw changes. They wanted to be part of the changing process. But Sir Eric, at that time, had a deaf ear. He was not listening to anyone, and he believed everything he did. He believed every one of his ideas were the best. And so the whole thing started deteriorating. And he realized that the children of labor are the ones who really turned against him and wanted to remove him. And I say that to say that we need to have an open mind to people. Changes continue to take place. As a matter of fact, changes now is coming more rapidly than before. And if we fail to listen, if we fail to observe changes and what good it can do for the world and, of course, our country, then we'll be failing in our leadership. So we need to listen, look, and try and understand.
I agree with you, my brother. I agree with you, Kenny, on that. I agree with you quite a lot. You know, sometimes people don't recognize. You may put red carpet for them or gold on the ground, and that is not what they want. Sometimes they want to be part of the process. And we have freedom of expression. So some people who have never spoken before have an opportunity to speak. And I believe in that. I believe although we have a free press in Grenada, the press is not open up enough. The press is not taking on issues. Could you imagine that we had 6 people go to the Olympic? We got a bronze medal. And our press felt that perhaps it was, we have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Yeah, morning.
Yes, my brother.
The issue is change. We have the privilege presently to change our leaders whensoever. Maurice Bishop had that privilege too. And what he did instead, he decided that was too slow for him. So he took the gun instead to change the government in that day.
Yeah, definitely. I think the caller referring to the fact that at that time Gary moved.
Eh?
You there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the caller referring to the indication that Gary had 13 seats in the alliance. He won 9. So there were definitely, and the people who then perhaps was voting against him was some of the children of Labour. So but definitely Bishop had the opportunity to use the system to change, and he chose to fast forward it and use the guns.
Because I'm saying this because today I hear people keep saying we want that change, and it's like they figure that this is the way to go, Bishop way. You know, we want that change, but the fact is that we have the privilege to change whensoever, because we can vote whosoever we want in the power, and we've been doing that. And when they tell us, look, you should have given us a seat instead, you should have given us a 2 seat, the people say, no, we didn't want you wrong, we want it how we want it. But then they say the people stupid.
Yes, scholar.
Thank you.
Yeah. In Grenada now you have, and from 1984, when we had a second opportunity at the polls, I always say election is free and fair and free from fear. And why I say that? Because the side that lose election, they concede defeat within the 24 hours after the poll closed. It means that they're generally satisfied with it. If there were any irregularities, it was not enough to raise eyebrows. You know? So definitely, and we have a free media. We have more radio stations in Grenada today than perhaps anybody else in the region. And you could see the level of freedom that the radio station have. Some of them, I believe, preaching hate. And we have a high level of tolerance from the 3 leaders in Grenada that have been criticized the most. They have shown a very high level of tolerance. And this is good. So some people may be saying we want change as a strategy, a political strategy to convince some people that these things, that they cannot get changed by any other means. Some people must be using that as a political ploy. Well, it's once they break the law, it's fair day for them. But I think we in Grenada, we have to continue to speak on the issues, and this is one of the reasons I provide the opportunity for people to call. What I have to say is not necessarily important, although I caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Hello, Mr.
Yes, my brother.
How are you, sir?
Great, man.
Okay. I tend to satisfy with 99 and 95% of what he said that will be talking by yourself, by the gentleman from committee and St. Patrick, somewhere in St. Patrick there, and from the Mr. Kenny Lalsey. I tend to support what you all said there today. One of the problems is, that I see though, is that this thing about change, if you look at the political parties in Grenada, they almost singing, everybody singing the same song. They're not much different from one another. And I don't see the NDC bringing that change that they're speaking about. I'm not seeing it. I think there are times when the government make mistakes or do things that may not the population satisfy with. But in terms of changing, I do not see. For instance, when Mr. The leader of the NDC made a statement when he was speaking to some children, and he said that we would not send home no Imani, and we would not send home no one of the contract workers. He knew definitely that was a tomfoolery, because no government could find jobs for all persons that will want jobs. And any government coming in power must have a whole set of people that are depending on them for jobs. So if you're not going to send home nobody, and you want to make it different or better, how are you going to keep the economy going? There must be...
I think he said he's going to make them permanent, is that?
Well, are you going to make them permanent? Are you going to make everybody...
Well, it could be... It's possible he could make them permanent because he end the program. Now, you could make those that day. You know, you could even say, I said I'm going to make them permanent, but some of them not qualified to make permanent. But if you end the program, there is no new ones to come in. So maybe it could be that the intention, end the program, and those that day, you keep them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So there is no continuity.
It's kind of temporary.
Yeah, well, it's like one. Sometimes
like when Mr. Winty talk about building a bridge from Carrico to Grenada, it is not impossible.
It's not.
When do we expect to see that?
Well, it's not.
If Mr. Winty come back and leave, when are we going to expect to see
that? But let us face it, it is not impossible. And secondly, Winty run as a one person. So even if he win election, he could say, well, I don't form the government. So, you know, in that situation, you have a program that have been criticized relentlessly by the opposition. So when they're addressing that program, they cannot just make tomfoolery about it. They shouldn't.
That's what I'm saying.
They shouldn't.
You know? You know, I mean, we're doing like, you know, an MP that won't do anything wrong.
You see,
they will do wrong, and then you'll find it. But
you see,
it's tomfoolery thing. I mean, we too modernized for this tomfoolery thing. You know, if you tell me that you want to make the project different and better, okay. But when you go in a building and tell people we will not send home anybody, we will make everybody permanent and whatnot, we know that it's tomfoolery. Like when a young man quoting a lady and he tell her everything, he give her everything she asked for. He give her the moon and the sky. But that was only in the coaching ship. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Colin. Thank you. The Imani program is a very important program, and political parties must take it into consideration when they're speaking. Why? Because Over 3,000 people have been affected by it. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Yes, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, you got a punch.
Yeah. Well, the last election, the same thing they were saying, you know. They go give the old people $400. They won't send home any money. And when they win the election, the money go home. The old people don't get their money. Same thing they come back again and say, you know. It's the same thing. Because how you expect to apply everybody? Where government get money to pay all the civil servants at one every month? Because they believe people stupid, but people are stupid. And we gain them the same 15 again. They could jump high, they could jump low to get in the 15. That is my contribution.
Thank you, caller. You see, two things. Politician, if you get 15, it's because you work for it. And you could lose the 15 too, you know. Because complacency is one of the biggest challenge a lot of politicians have. Some politicians, their heads swell and they get lazy and they get complacent. And they believe because the government perform, that they perform. But work on politics is two different stories. I always speak on the Imani program because I'm one of the individuals, I'm a believer in that program. And I also believe, you have a call on the line? Caller, punch. Caller, you might be the last caller, so punch.
Yes, you there?
Yeah, punch.
Right, now listen, Mr. Pierre, the question about change.
You have about 1 minute and a half.
Right, people just want to change, but people doesn't be prepared to change. Right? The thing about it, now I want to say something concerning the Constitution. Now we have a good written Constitution. People just call and call them.
You don't want to start with the Constitution tomorrow?
Okay, no
because
problem.
you're in the ending. I'll try and remember and start with it.
Yes, okay.
And
no
remember
problem.
to call all you in the Constitution.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Okay,
no problem, man. Take it right. Okay, good.
We on to the last. We can't take any callers anymore. So I thought the Constitution issue is a good issue to start the program with. On the question of the Imani, politicians, political parties must come out. I believe any political party have any sense must come up with a position on the Imani. 3,000 people benefit from it. You cannot come and mess with that program. It is unacceptable. You have 3,000 people from the lower socioeconomic strata, from the poorer groups from the people. I know a lot of them from the country in it. This program gives them an opportunity to further their education. The most important thing is give them money in the pocket. They have some money. It raises the standard in terms of preserving their dignity. They have a job. It helps them to able to provide for the children. Some of them were in the money program, went as far as China. Some went to the St. George's University. There are some in the money program now that have big jobs at government. Any politician in Grenada that want people have some respect for them, deal with this program with respect. If you want to change the program, you have to come with something better. This program has been tried. It has been around quite a long time. I have spoken to over 50 people that involved in the program and interviewed about 9 or 10 of them. I've not heard a sad story from one. In socialist countries we reached the end of our program, and we want to thank you for being with us today. Tomorrow we're going to try to start with the issue of the Constitution, and then we open it up. You could speak on any issue you want. Thank you very much.
Triple N.